Microsoft Build 2026 has wrapped, and the headline is bigger than one app or one model. On June the 2nd and 3rd in San Francisco and online, Microsoft used Build to show how it wants AI agents to move into the full stack: context, models, Windows, security, cloud infrastructure, and scientific research. The cleanest way to read the press conference is through three themes. First, Microsoft wants intelligence grounded in your business, not just the public internet. Second, it wants developers building across the full stack, from Windows PCs to Azure data centers. Third, it wants agentic systems to help with security, science, medicine, and quantum computing. The most important software layer is Microsoft IQ. Microsoft says IQ is now generally available across GitHub Copilot, Microsoft Foundry, and Copilot Studio. Work IQ connects agents to workplace knowledge like people, email, documents, meetings, and systems. Fabric IQ adds structured business meaning. Foundry IQ handles retrieval planning, and the new Web IQ is an AI-first search stack that is model-agnostic and MCP native. Microsoft also says Web IQ returns relevant passages at nearly 2.5 times the speed of the next best alternative. On models, Microsoft made a sharper move toward owning more of its AI stack. The Microsoft AI Superintelligence team introduced 7 in-house MAI models. The headline model is MAI Thinking 1, a reasoning model with 35 billion active parameters and a 256K context window. Microsoft says it was trained from scratch on clean, commercially licensed enterprise-grade data, with no distillation from third-party models. In the official blog, Microsoft says independent blind raters preferred it to Sonnet 4.6, and that it matches Opus 4.6 on SWE Bench Pro coding ability. The model family goes wider than reasoning. MAI Code 1 Flash is tuned for GitHub Copilot, VS Code, and the Microsoft stack. MAI Image 2.5 supports text-to-image and image editing. MAI Transcribe 1.5 supports 43 languages, while MAI Voice 2 adds speech generation across 15 languages. Microsoft also says the models will reach developers through Foundry, OpenRouter, Fireworks AI, and Base 10. For enterprises, the governance story may matter more than the demos. Agent 365 extends Entra, Defender, and Purview into one control plane for local and cloud agents, even if those agents are not hosted on Microsoft's own platform. Microsoft also announced a cert for policy-driven safety evaluation and the agent control specification to standardize controls inside the agent loop. The pitch is simple: if agents can act across apps, files, prompts, and tools, companies need identity, permissions, logs, and policy built around the agent itself. Security got a very specific agentic example, codename MDASH. Microsoft describes MDASH as a multimodal security system that deploys more than 100 agents to reason through data flow, business logic, and exploit chains. The promise is not just finding bugs, but delivering context-aware fixes directly through the Defender portal. One of the newest visual ideas was Project Solara, Microsoft's vision for agent-first computing devices. The keynote showed small devices that act less like traditional app screens and more like surfaces for persistent AI agents. The point is a chip-to-cloud model, lightweight interfaces connected to cloud-hosted agent services and persistent state. This is Microsoft testing a future where ambient devices are managed, secure windows into agents, not just another place to run mobile apps. The important part is not the exact industrial design. It is the direction. Microsoft is preparing for devices where the main interaction is not opening apps one by one. Instead, the device becomes an interface to agents that can watch state, remember context, and continue work across sessions, while enterprise policies still live in Microsoft's cloud stack. Windows was positioned as an agent-native runtime, not just a desktop operating system. Microsoft Execution Containers, or MXC, are in early preview as a policy-driven execution layer for agents across Windows and WSL. Windows 365 for agents is now generally available within Agent 365, giving agents separate cloud PCs for multi-step workflows. Microsoft says OpenClaw now runs securely on Windows using MXC, and NVIDIA's OpenShell also uses MXC for autonomous agent runtime controls. Microsoft also announced a new generation of local models for Windows. Aeon 1.0 Instruct is a smaller, faster model for everyday on-device intelligence. Aeon 1.0 Plan is a 14 billion parameter reasoning and tool calling model with a 32K context length. Windows AI APIs are expanding beyond NPUs to GPUs and CPUs, so more Windows 11 devices can run local AI features. The hardware headline for developers was the Surface RTX Spark Dev Box. Microsoft says it delivers up to 1 petaflop of AI compute with 128 gigabytes of unified memory. It is designed to run models up to 120 billion parameters locally, with up to a 1 million token context, and it will be available later this year in the United States through Microsoft.com. The developer workflow story is the new GitHub Copilot app, now in preview as a native desktop experience. Developers can start from an idea, issue, or pull request, then run multiple agent sessions in parallel. Each session uses Git work trees, so the agent's changes stay separated while review, CI, and merge move through the normal engineering path. At the platform layer, Rayfin is in preview as an AI-first backend as a service inside Microsoft Fabric, with Replit integration for fast prototyping. Azure Horizon DB is a fully managed PostgreSQL service that Microsoft says delivers more than 3 times the throughput of comparable self-managed setups in internal testing. Microsoft also announced Cobalt 200 virtual machines, with a 50% performance improvement over Cobalt 100 for cloud-native workloads. Satya Nadella used the keynote to make the infrastructure point plainly. He said Azure spans more than 500 data centers across 80 regions, and that Microsoft added more data center capacity in the last 18 months than in the first decade of Azure. That scale is the backdrop for Microsoft's promise of tokens per dollar per watt. In the keynote, Microsoft also pointed to agent trace gains, lower latency, faster speed, and higher throughput as the platform gets optimized for agent workloads. Build 2026 also pushed agents into science. Microsoft Discovery is now generally available for organizations building governed agentic AI workflows across research and engineering. The Microsoft Discovery app is in preview for local desktop use. Microsoft says BHP is using it for copper leaching research, Ciensco for semiconductor-related R&D, and GSK for drug discovery work. Finally, Microsoft brought quantum back into the build story with Majorana 2. Microsoft says the new topological quantum processor is 1,000 times more reliable than the previous unit. Its qubits have a mean lifetime of 20 seconds, sometimes exceeding 1 minute, and Microsoft says the AI-enabled progress has cut its timeline in half for a scalable quantum computer, now anticipated by 2029. So the real Build 2026 update is this: Microsoft is no longer talking only about Copilot as a chat assistant. It is building the layers around agents, context through Microsoft IQ, models through MAI, runtime through Windows, governance through Agent 365, scale through Azure, and new frontiers through Discovery and Majorana 2.